And this is pjnet.tv. We are live 9 p.m. East Coast time. If you're watching this at some other time, well, you're watching the recording of the live event that actually happened. We are running the bumper. We are recording and streaming to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Our first-time guest is standing by in our green room, chat room standing by. We will count down to Studio 36 Alpha starting now. Well, welcome to pjnet.tv. I'm your host, Coach Prasick, and it is time. It is that time. It's the end of the week for me anyway. And we are going to finish this thing really strong with a big beluga. Now, you might be wondering what a big beluga is, and I am too. So we have, for the first time ever on pjnet.tv, the authority on big belugas. And her name is Kathleen Barrett, and she joins us from her. Now, is this your study? Is this your library? It's not your bedroom, I don't guess, but
it's a second bedroom, and it has my modest library shelf in there. Yeah, so it's a bedroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, my office is in the other room.
Okay, so this is actually not your office where you manufacture all this stuff.
No, it is not.
Okay. Do you, when you write books, do you just sit down and write it, or do you go outdoors and relax and write that way? How do you do it?
I have a great big desk in the sunroom that overlooks our swimming pool, and we've got lots of greenery. And so I sit there and do my work and enjoy the scene.
Yeah, we call those Florida rooms here in Florida.
Florida rooms. Well, I'm here in Florida. I'm in
I know.
Port St. Lucie. Oh, you know that.
Yeah.
Right?
You have that Floridian just countenance about you that gives away that you're you're from Florida. Kathleen, I only recently was introduced to you, and I got your bio and all that kind of stuff, and I'm trying to remember. How is it, or maybe I don't remember. You tell me. Do you remember how on earth did you find the best kept secret on the internet, which is pjnet.tv?
It really is. Mr. J.D. Winninger.
Oh, you know him?
Yeah. Well, he's been so wonderful to share and tweet my blogs that I write. And he's got some wonderful, my goodness, he's got wonderful writings about his ranch and how he relates nature to God's principles, and just a wonderful, wonderful man. And I knew he was going to be on PJNet, so I started watching and got in the chat room, and it's very nice.
Did you make any friends?
Well, none that I know, but I hope I've made friends. Just over the airwaves. And Barbara invited me. I think it was Barbara that invited me.
Oh, she handles all of our scheduling. On the rare occasions that I would get involved, I would schedule somebody and then tell Barbara, "Hey, we got to speak. We got somebody coming on," and she says, "We've already got someone for that time."
Oh,
that didn't happen once. It happened twice. So I said,
twice.
What? I'm out of this. I'm not doing this anymore.
I think actually you did invite me.
I don't know. I doubt it. Maybe I did at JD's behest.
Yeah.
Well,
and I appreciate it.
What I try to do is look at our schedule. It's on our website, and Barbara keeps it pretty up to date. But from the time somebody says, "Yeah, I'll do it on this date," well, there's obviously some latency, and you could be right in that little slot and be lucky and get two guests both appear. Now, I see in the chat room, JD is saying that this is the dear lady who sent me a beautiful picture book of Israel. So we're going to talk about For the Love of Big Beluga, but that's not the extent of your work.
It is not. No. The book that I sent to JD is Israel, God's Heart, and I co-authored that with a pretty prominent Israeli aerial photographer. And we had never met. That's an interesting story. we had been sending emails back and forth for about 10 years, but we never actually met in person. But we collaborated on the book. He would send me the images, I would write the narratives and the scripture. And so then we didn't meet until late in 2016. It was at the CBA in Cincinnati.
Hmm.
Um, and we met there for the first time after 10 years of corresponding on emails. But I'm not sure if I have that. Yeah, I do. But it's not available anymore. But this is it.
Uh,
I'm gauging interest on another album like this, um, but it's not available anymore. Sold out.
so, well,
And yeah,
good for you, I guess.
so it did. It was good. And then um, actually before that in 2002, another book that's not available is Jubilee Journal. Hope to resurrect this one. This was good. I wrote this. And then Big Beluga.
All right.
I didn't. Yeah, you
Let's
want to talk
talk
about
about
the
Big Beluga because
okay.
I thought I had heard every possible name,
Uh huh.
uh, but for the love of Big Beluga, Beluga apparently is a dog, but
Yes.
where did a name like Beluga come from? Is that Swedish, German? Well, what is that?
Do you recall way back? Oh, probably several decades. I'm not saying you're that old, but it was several decades ago that there was a comic
Comic
book
strip.
character right named Paluca, Palooka,
Uh huh.
and in the storyline, Meg and her brother Ryan talk about their grandfather's um, comic books and, you know, the comic book character being Big Palooka. And Meg says, well, I don't like that name. I like Big Baluka. So that's how, in actual life, real life, we had a neighborhood dog who his name was Josh, and my children, who are now grown adults with kids of their own, renamed Josh Big Beluga
Hmm.
because he was just that kind of a lovable looking. Well, as you see on the cover there, um, the cover was actually pencil sketched by a young lady, a teenager, who is legally blind from albinism. And her bio is in the book. Her picture is in the book. And her mom told me that it took her 13 hours to pencil sketch from a photograph that I had sent her. And the remarkable thing is, she looked at the photograph, pencil sketched that image from within 6 inches of her eyesight to get that drawing. And we only had to do one touch up on it. And so um, her name is Phoebe Yablonsky from Pennsylvania. And just a young, wonderful artist, upcoming artist. And this is her first commercial work.
Well, that
So
doesn't look like a pencil sketch to me,
I know, right?
and it certainly doesn't look like the work of a teenager, and it
No,
certainly doesn't look like the work of a nearly blind teenager, and it
exactly.
certainly
She's
doesn't
very.
look like 13 hours worth, regardless of one's level of skill. So I'm
Mhm.
I'm I'm kind of in awe
Yeah.
of that. But there's a story. This is not a puppy dog tale exactly. It's based on real things.
It is. It is. Um, about 30 years ago, or a little bit more, um, we lived further south than we do now, but the neighborhood was a very close knit neighborhood, and the homes were as well very close to each other. And we had a neighborhood dog. He lived actually next door to us, and he was not treated very well at all. And his name was Josh. And my two children, Michael and Danielle, came to love this dog. Our whole family did. And so we tried to, treat it with kindness and tenderness and try to watch out for its welfare. Um, so we renamed it Big Beluga just because he was just kind of a clumsy looking, kind of dopey looking faced dog, but so lovable. But one day we saw the owner put the dog in his truck and drive away, and we never saw the dog again. And so that really broke our hearts, and the love for Josh just grew in our hearts, and so did the storyline. So it had been in my filing cabinet, getting all dusty, and I took it out time and time again and edited it and rewrote it and added chapters to it. And then finally, last year during the pandemic, uh, the summer of 2020, I just felt an urgency of that for a couple of reasons. One, that people, and especially children, because I love children. I was a preschool teacher for 9 years. I did summer recreation and light club and all those things with children. Sometimes I would have 40 kids in my small 1,200-foot house for different activities. But so I got off on a bunny trail. Uh, where was I? I'm sorry.
The love of Big Beluga is based on a true story.
It's
Uh,
based on a true
and
story. Yes.
the dog's name you mentioned was Josh. I'm being
It
told by
was
my
Josh.
producer that my audio is a little bit low, so let me gain it up a little bit.
Okay.
I turned it down because I had a sneeze. You know, you can't
Oh,
help. This is
God
live,
bless you.
folks, and sneezes happen.
It
So
does.
hopefully we're calibrated back again. Um, you have written 3 books that you've told us about, and there doesn't seem to be any common thread in here. You've got the journal, you've got an aerial pictorial of Israel, and for the love of Big Blue. Now, that's not a children's book, is it? That's a real.
It is.
It is.
It's,
Okay.
it's, I wrote it for 8 to 12-year-olds, but I'll tell you what, there have been so many young at heart adults reading it, older people like ourselves, uh,
Speak
and
for
they love
yourself.
it. Speak for
It's,
myself.
well, you
Okay.
can't go wrong with a puppy dog, right? I mean,
Oh, if
that's
you love dogs or dog rescue stories, good old fashioned um, stories that'll warm your heart, you can just curl up with this book and read it in an afternoon.
well.
And
I hate to hear the way Big Beluga, as he is referred to in your book,
Mhm.
was treated. But dogs, or pets in general, I should say, tend to bring out the best in us. But for some people, not that's not the case. Is there any sadness in there about Big Beluga, or is it all upbeat?
no, there's sadness. There has to be tension in the storyline, a roller coaster kind of thing, but it has a beautiful, satisfying ending. And it's really, really, as the subtitle says, the story of faith, family, friendship, and forgiveness. And throughout the storyline, and it is from the perspective of an 11-year-old girl, uh, you see that she is a praying girl.
Hmm.
Prayer and scripture is throughout. And even at the end of the book, there's an invitation to receive Christ. So forgiveness, even to the dog's abuser, was strong in the
Mm.
storyline. And it's remarkable what the Lord has done. I mean, that last summer He put everything together in such remarkable order and, like I said, urgency. And then
Do you
from
have a dog?
we had a dog. We had a cat also.
I don't
We
care
don't
about
have
that.
a dog now. Yeah, we don't have a dog now. It's kind of difficult with my husband's. Um, he has
They can be high
limitations.
maintenance.
They
Yeah.
are, and I
Uh,
thought about getting one for his sake, but then I already have enough going on, and you know, it's
now,
probably not a good idea because they do need care.
yeah. And I have a dog, and in fact, we have some new neighbors. So we saw them out in the front yard. So we went, but I had to leave my dog back. It's a 100 pound German Shepherd.
Oh
But
wow.
she brought up the dog because she has seen it as she's moving in and out. The dog sitting there, and they really, we get attached to them. And my wife has a family member on her side of the family, a widow, whose husband's dog died about 2 weeks ago, I guess.
Oh.
So I had to bury that dog. And
Mm.
the problem, for all the joy that these cute little things bring into our lives and all the good memories, but chances are we're going to outlive them, and
Yeah.
it's tough. I'm curious, Kathleen. You've got a quite diverse lineup of books. You are also, I think, an indie publisher, meaning it's independently published, right?
Yes.
Now, to do
Yes, that's
that,
right.
you've already mentioned two outstanding, I hate to use the word assets, but I'm going to use it for lack of a better term.
Okay.
How did you find a aerial photographer in Israel? How did you find a teenage pencil sketch artist who's blind to come on board and be on your team? How do you put that together? How do you meet these people?
Yeah. Well, the aerial photographer was a friend of my sister-in-law's who lived in Switzerland. And that part of the world is very tight knit, and my brother-in-law traveled frequently to Israel. And so he and his wife and Ron Gaffney, who's the aerial photographer, they came to know each other. And Ron wanted to get his work into the United States. So over the years, we had corresponded back and forth, and he asked me if I knew how, you know, what they were looking for, what publishers are looking for here. And I told him that they probably are looking for some narratives and scripture to go with your images. So we corresponded over a course of about 5 months. And he would send me his images, and I would look up scripture. I would pray about what narratives to write. And so I found him through a connection of my sister in law's friend.
Hmm.
And then for the artist for the cover of Beluga, uh, I found her through my daughter's connection with an adoption website. My two of my granddaughters are adopted from China, and so my daughter belongs to an adoption website, and my daughter Danielle found out that Phoebe was an artist, and I said, "Well, you know what? Let's give her a try." I didn't know what else I was going to do. It just kind of it just kind of a fluky thing that, well, not really fluky. No, it wasn't fluky because I wanted to give her the opportunity because an indie published writer uh, has to be willing to invest in themselves. And that's something else that I discovered last summer is I'm going to start investing in myself because, to tell you the truth, I don't have time to wait on mainline publishers to say, oh, yeah, well, because it's so
Hmm.
much back and forth and you almost have
Right.
to
Yeah.
beg
Yeah,
to
the
be heard
gestation
and
cycle
seen.
alone. I mean, you and I, we're kind of in the fourth quarter, as I would estimate.
Exactly.
Um, in the minute or so we've got left, you started as a teenager. This writing inspiration was you were aware of its presence within you.
Yes.
So fast forward to today. In what ways have those dreams come true for you? And then in what ways do they have yet to come true for you?
Oh, my goodness. Um, in so many different ways. You talked about the different genres of the book. And from the first speech I wrote for the commander of the American Legion, when I was about 18 years old, he invited me to write a speech for him. He was running for national commander. And so I wrote the speech. He won that year. I don't know if it was to do with my
He had
speech or
other
not.
qualifications too, I'm
Yeah,
sure,
yeah,
but yeah.
I'm sure he did. But it just put me on a trajectory
Uh-huh.
where I could write different things. I wrote for newspapers and uh, just different variety of things. And so I enjoy writing different um, pieces.
Mhm.
And where is it going? I don't know. I hope one day that it won't be too difficult to get a traditional publisher to take a look at my work.
Mhm.
Um, in the meantime, what I'm doing is building up my followers. Thank you, JD, for being one of them. I appreciate it so much on my blogs.
Which
So
can
that's
be found at kathybarrettwrites.com. I've got
yes.
that on the screen, and I wanted to bring that up before we had to go because you do blog. How often do you blog, Kathy? Kathleen?
About once to twice a week. Not
Ooh.
very much, but
Pff. Yeah, kind of like PJ Net. Yeah, twice a night. Yeah, not much.
yeah,
Nah. Okay.
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
well, folks, I hope you'll visit kathybarrettwrites.com. Catch up on the blogs. If you can't do that, just go to Facebook and check out JD because he shouts out a,
And Twitter.
a lot of good bloggers. But Kathleen, thank you so much
Yes.
for sharing these heartwarming stories with us about your writings, and we are just amazed at what God can do. It doesn't matter,
Amen.
you can start as a teenager, you can start as a mature adult, but just keep moving forward. But Kathy, thank you so much. We've enjoyed having you. Appreciate
Thank you,
it. All right.
Coach.
All right. Folks, that was Kathleen Barrett, who can quite frequently be found in our chat room. We're going to have JD at the bottom of the hour, but I wanted to take this opportunity, and it may cause us to be a little late getting JD started, but I just want to express my gratitude and my humble spirit. There were a bunch of boxes came in, today. And my wife said, "You've got a package in there," and I said, "Well, I'm not expecting anything." And so it's from Amazon. I said, "Well, somebody found our wish list." Well, in that package is 8 of these. Now, what the heck is this? Well, you guys out there, if you put something in here and turn this knob, it's going to squeeze and tighten, okay? So it's basically kind of a C-clamp looking device. But in the world of photography, we have these little jigs that have 2 knuckles on them, one on this side. You can see it moving like that. It's on a swivel ball. It's on a ball swivel, one on this side. And so, you take this little gizmo here, this little jig. This clamp has got 1, 2, 3, 4 holes there, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 different places that you can take this little jig here, and you can screw it in right there like that. And then the other end, of course, you can screw your camera on right there. So you can clamp this. Now, what are we going to do with these? We've got 8 of them. Okay. Well, you've heard me talk about the event coming up January 15th. That's in a barn. It's got angle iron truss. So we have to mount cameras up in the 20-foot high ceiling. So I bought several different types to find out what would work best. And this is the one that we settled on. So these will be deployed at that event. I do not mention any of our financial supporters. I do not mention names, who gave what or how much. I don't think that's anybody's business, and I don't want, I won't go into that. But you know who you are, and Coach really appreciates you doing that in support of pjnet.tv. Gosh, we've got a great team, a great family, and we've got JD coming up in just a few moments, and I hope I haven't caused us to, yeah, he'll be late, or will be late because of me. So, JD, come on in the green room, sir. We're going to use the same studio, so come on in, and we'll be back in just a few moments. Until we get back, consider these 2 questions. What is the boldest thing you've ever done for Jesus Christ? And how long ago was it? Make a promise to yourself to never be satisfied with either answer.